Hey everyone, Sonny Borba here from Raider Aviation, and in today's lesson video we're going to talk about the emergency approach to landing, which is basically your simulated engine out. You know, as a student pilot, oftentimes they think, man, there's so much stuff to learn with all of these maneuvers, and there's a lot of memorization, but this is one that we put a lot of time into. If we have an engine failure, there's the ABC checklist that we're going to follow. A, which is pitch for best airspeed, or best glide airspeed. B, best field. We're going to find a place to land, we're going to head that way, and we're going to be deliberate about it and decisive. C is checklist, and I break that down into two things. You've got your flow check. We're going to check everything having to do with fuel, air, and spark. If time allows, then we go to our actual emergency checklist and we go through the rest of that, the rest of those items. Let's say we're below 1,500 feet AGL. We want to aviate first, fly the airplane first, and keep things safe. We don't want to be messing with a checklist and flipping and flopping it around when you're close to the ground. So the emergency engine out is all about multitasking and making sure you have a conditioned response to the engine problem. So let's cut to the clip and go up and see how the maneuver works.
All right, guys, here we are in the cockpit. We're 5,500 feet. We've got an emergency landing spot picked out, and we have cleared the area. And what we're going to show you this time is the emergency approach to landing, which is basically your simulated engine failure. So, Morgan, let's go. Let's take them through that one.
Okay. So the first thing that we do is run through our ABC checklist when we have an engine failure. I use my ears as a tool to help me execute that conditioned response of the ABCs for engine failure. So we've lost our engine because we heard it give way. First thing we want to do is pitch for airspeed. Really, it's a conditioned response. We do this enough times to where we should just hear that engine give way, immediately pitch for our best glide speed. So we have 80 on the airspeed. We're now looking for our best place to land. It's not always ideal. We're looking for a best place to land. We got to be decisive, choose something quickly, because especially in the mountainous terrain or even the flatlands with a bunch of plowed fields, those are just not good options. So we got to pick something, because we're losing altitude that we're not going to get back. We're converting altitude into airspeed here. As we're looking around, we're descending at a little less than 1,000 feet a minute. Sonny's found a spot that looks like it is not plowed, maybe a dirt road. Anything that looks good at a couple thousand feet, when we get lower, might not be quite as good. We don't see power lines from thousands of feet up. We don't see plowed fields or rough terrain quite as easy. So once we get down in altitude, we want to have a plan B, plan C. So I'm picking a spot to land that if we came up short, we'd still be okay. If we went long, that we'd be okay here. So very important that as we run through our C's, our checklist and communicate if there's time. So we're running through the fuel, air, and spark. Work our way right to left in the airplane. So anything fuel related, so we're looking for fuel pump, fuel selector, anything air related, carb heat. Trying to start our mags, didn't work. Really trying to start it so we avoid having to ditch the airplane. And if there's time, we're going to communicate as well. That's our other C. So 7700 and 121.5 unless we're already on approach controller flight following, then we'll declare emergency with them. Very important to do is keep your airspeed up. Even if it doesn't look ideal, we keep the airplane at that speed until we get closer to the ground. We do not want to slow the airplane and try to keep it flying. Looks like we've made our field, and he's putting in flaps. We keep the airplane coming downhill all the way into the flare. Looks like we made that.
Yeah, looks like we made the field. I added flaps there because I felt like we were going to be a little bit high. So I used flaps for the drag, just like Morgan said, and I've got a tower kind of off to our front left here, so I'm going to make a slight right turn to avoid that, taking flaps out to climb out. But important not to add flaps early and risk slowing down too much and not making your field. Alright guys, thanks for watching. There's your emergency approach to landing maneuver for private pilot. See you next time.